Hello, this is Major Dave Besco. I'm here with another video tutorial. Today we're going to look at how to filter, copy, and paste a table in VBA. This will be a critical video for those who are working through Scenario 2, Deliverable 1. And it's just a great skill to have overall in being able to filter, copy, paste a table in VBA. So let's go ahead and get started here. First of all, I got a set of data that I'm going to show you here that we're going to play with today for this tutorial. You can see here this is a fairly large set of data of purchasing data of different types of materials. You see here this is made by Kleenex. It looks like different types of tissues that are sold at stores. So we have, you see here the description of what it is, a code number, a UPC, the store number, the week, the weeks by number. Sold, this is the quantity sold of these cases of the product, the price, and total profit as we go through. As you kind of see this here, if I go down to the bottom, you'll see that we have roughly 3,700 and some odd rows. This is a decent sized data set of sales data that we're going to use to walk through this tutorial here today. The end result of this is to be able to take this, subset it, and copy and paste it to a new sheet. So if you look down here, you see that I have the original data tissue here, and what I'd like to do is be able to subset it by filtering it, and then copy and paste it to this new sheet I have here called My Tissue, which right now is blank. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing we need to do is make sure that this is in a XLSM or a macro-enabled Excel file, which it is. I'm going to go ahead and click on Developer and open up our Visual Basic IDE. You can see here that we have your normal IDE, and I have two windows open, the immediate window and the locals window. I'm going to go ahead and insert a module where we will place our code for this. Alright, so we need to create a procedure here that both, first of all, filters. You can think of this as using an autofilter. So most of you are familiar, if I go back here, that if we filter this, so let's say we want to only select those items that are Kleenex. So if I click on Control A here and select the entire table and go to Data, it's going to go to Home, I can choose Filter, and notice that automatically adds a filter to the top of all these. And then I can go down here, and instead of choosing all of them and select all these, I can undo this, only select those that have Charmin, and hit OK, and now I have a subset of the data that only is this brand name of Kleenex. Well, I'd like to do that exact same thing in VBA. So let me go ahead and undo this and show how to do that in VBA. So let's go back now to our IDE. So we need to create a sub procedure that we will call filter copy. So we'll call it sub filter copy, and go ahead and enter. And notice that Excel the VBA went ahead and added the end sub and set up the text how we need it. I'll give a little bit of space here. So I like to tab in once you're inside this. And so the only integer, the only thing we need to dimension here is the last row, which we're going to use to find what the last row is of this table. So we're going to dim a last row as long. Since we don't know how long this is, rather than just using an integer, we're going to use long. I recommend this for your data that you're using in Scenario 2, because your data is for sure greater than the 32,000 and some odd integers we're allowed if we use an integer type of variable. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and make sure, although right now my tissue sheet is clear, in the future it may not be. So we want to make sure before we go do anything that we clear this entire sheet so that we have a fresh place to copy and paste our new data. So to do that, we're going to write sheets my tissue. This is the name of that worksheet. Cells.clear, and that will clear all the cells in my tissue. Next, we need to activate the tissue worksheet from which we're going to do the filtering. So we can do sheets tissue.activate in order to activate this. And this is always good at any time you run any procedure to make sure at the top of it the right worksheet is activated, so you don't end up doing a procedure on the wrong worksheet. The next thing we're going to do is find the last row. So I'll just add a comment here to find the last row. So to do that, we can use this command here, last row. So that long that we've already dimensioned is going to equal range A1 dot current region dot rows dot count, and that will count the number of rows starting in A1, choosing the current region, how many rows are in that table. So that will give us the number of rows that we have, so that we can use that as we select to copy and paste. Next thing we'll do is go ahead and select that entire table. So to do that, we can use the command range. So we're going to choose a range from A1 to, we need to now know what column. While the rows may change in this table, the columns will not, so we can figure out how many columns we have in tissues. So this goes all the way to in. So we can come back over here to our code and say from to in, and then simply say and last row dot select, and that will select the table from A1 all the way down in the left hand corner all the way down to in, and the last row number in the bottom right hand corner. So now that we've selected that, we can go ahead and auto filter it. So to do an auto filter in VBA, I'll just write some comments here for myself to remember what we're doing. So filter table. So we're just going to do the selection dot auto filter. This is the same as when I highlighted the whole table and clicked on filter. This is what this does. So auto filter. So I want a selection auto filter it, and I want to filter it by the field. So I want to know what field. You have to do colon, equal sign, and then the number of the field. I'm going to choose field 3. So we're going to choose only those that have the criteria of Charmin. So we come back over here. We see that the description here is 1, 2, 3 fields in, which means we can come back. We need a field 3. I'll put a comma and space, and I put the criteria. Criteria. If I can spell right. Criteria 1 equals Charmin, or Carmen, or however you pronounce that. So let's go ahead and just test this out and see if this runs right. So I'm going to go ahead and click play. It looks like it ran. If I come back over here, I see that I have now, through VBA, run an auto filter, then turned on this, and I've set the description. So if I click on this, you can see that we've only selected this one. So in VBA, I've done exactly the same thing. So I'll go back to VBA, and now that we have this selected, we have to tell it what to do with that. So we want to go ahead and copy and paste that to a new page. So we can go to the copy paste here portion of this. So we're going to do selection, just like we learned in class, dot copy. We're going to go sheets, my tissue, dot range, A1. So we're going to paste it, started in A1, and we want to just paste the values as opposed to any formula. So we're going to do paste special XL paste values, and that will only paste the values as opposed to any formulas. And then we're going to hit selection dot auto filter, which will turn the auto filter off, and basically as if you went and clicked selected that whole table again in the tissues worksheet and clicked on the filter, so turn off the filter for all of that. So by doing this again, this turns it on up here, this turns it off down here. We'll probably go ahead and put a comment so we remember that. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this and see if this works. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit save to make sure we have this all. come over here and hit save as well. And we're going to go ahead and just run it. And you can see in the background there that this is back down to the auto filter has been turned off, and this original worksheet is in its original format. You can also see that if I go to my tissue, that this new data set has been placed over here, and you can see if I go down, we only have about 643 rows, and all of them are of this brand name. The question you may have is, what if we want to filter by more than one thing? So what if we want to filter by two things? So let's say we want to do this again, but we want to filter all of these descriptions that are made by Charmin, but we also want all of them that have a quantity sold of, let's say, more than 50 units. So if I come back here, I can go under this, the selection auto filter, and I can choose selection and just add another one, selection.auto filter, and I'm going to say that this field equals whatever field that is for sold. If I come back here and count over, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's 9 columns over. So we go ahead and enter that as field 9. And our criteria, we can still name this criteria 1, equals, and this is greater than, let's say greater than or equal to 50. Now if we run this again, go back to our spreadsheet, you will see that if we go to my tissue, that now we only have a total of 49 rows. Those are all of the brand name Charmin, and that all of the quantities sold are greater than or equal to 50 units. So that's how you can filter with more than one field at a time. This video will be critical as you continue your work on scenario 2, particularly in this deliverable 1. If you have any questions, please get with Colonel Henderson or myself, and we look forward to seeing you in class.